Why am I so burnt out? How do I handle hard conversations? Are my hormones messed up? What do I do if I'm laid off? Why do I feel so alone? How do I spice up my sex life? I'm Jillian, the host of Teach Me How to Adult podcast, and I ask the hard questions that help us know ourselves and each other better. I felt completely unprepared to navigate the messy realities, evolutions, and transitions of being a human in my 20s and 30s. So I created this podcast to interview industry experts and find research-backed methods to improve mental health, relationships, and work. Whether you're single or married, traveling the world, or parenting at home, climbing the corporate ladder, or pursuing your creative calling, there is more than one way to adult, and we cover it all. If you're looking for smart, meaningful conversations that help you live your best life, tune in to Teach Me How to Adult wherever you get your podcasts.
Frequency Podcast Network. Stories that matter, podcasts that resonate.
He's in the building!
Drink the moment. Drink it.
I said empty your mind.
Coquettish and coy. Ow. Ow.
What?
Yeah, there's people that are dying.
The wickedly talented.
More than great. It was historic.
Crack is
What?
Oh, good for you.
I have to apologize.
One of the hottest.
Hello, and welcome back to The Reheat, a podcast that re-examines the spiciest celebrity news and scandals of yesteryear and asks, how would we react to the same events if they transpired today? I'm Steph Hassan.
And I'm Sarah Sahagian. And this week, it's our special Canada Day special.
Yay!
Because who says a cold country can't produce hot gossip? To celebrate this country's birthday, we are discussing that time two of the sexiest people Canada has ever produced decided to date each other. And the whole world went bananas for them. Yep, we're obviously talking about Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams, who are no longer a couple, but whose sexual chemistry on and off screen will never be forgotten. Really, they did produce the best PDA Toronto has ever witnessed. They had a cute celebrity moniker, McGosling. This is a classic couple. They are, I would have to say, the Chanel suit of celebrity couples. I don't care if they didn't make it. So, Sadaf, before I get into it, what did Ryan and Rachel's relationship mean to you in the OOs?
Simply everything. Okay, I have to tell you, I was a big Ryan Gosling girl. Like, he was everything to me for years and years. And we lucked out because we're Canadian. So he was on TV since I was a kid, honestly. I grew up with him, basically, when he was a skinny shrimp. I remember those days. And then Rachel McAdams, how do you not love that woman? Like, she is one of our favorites at The Reheat. We've talked about it so many times. Frankly, I miss her. She should be in everything. She's an absolute icon. If you haven't watched Send Help yet, please do it. It's on Disney and Hulu. And Disney and Hulu, if you want to sponsor us, feel free. Now, Rachel McAdams, beautiful, phenomenal, depth, gorgeous, funny, dramatic actress. They both parallel each other so perfectly. So this was like a match made in heaven. I still dream of these two. I still have fantasies that they will somehow end up together. Now, I know they are both happily married. That is besides the point. I just remember that day and those photos. And my God, let me just preface, though, before Sarah digs deeper into this, we will link the infamous photos from that PDA day in the show notes if you would like to look at them as we chat. Because frankly, I would frame them and put them on my wall. Maybe I will do that.
These people really loved to kiss in public, and that is something that we respect, right? I mean, everyone wants to see that from them. They're two really hot people. So I love how they gave the people what they wanted. I actually don't think they were doing that intentionally. They seem to not like being the target of the paparazzi, but I don't know. You're that hot. You're famous. You're making out everywhere. Obviously, the paps are going to come find you.
I know. I don't think they hated it that much when they were together. Like, I think they don't love it in their other relationships and current, but I feel like when they were together, they didn't mind it. And I think, listen, I have this theory that when you have true sexual chemistry, it pops off, whether it's in a photo, on paper, wherever. You can sense it. And I feel like with those two, oh my God, like the heat would just sizzle off them wherever they went. Of course, they couldn't resist each other Be damned if there's a camera right nearby. We need to make out. I need to slip a hand under your shirt. I got to do what I got to do. Anyway, I'm getting heated myself.
So let's start at the beginning for both of our stars. Rachel McAdams is the person that we're going to begin with. Rachel was born in London, Ontario in November of 1978. Her mother was a nurse and her father was a truck driver. Their daughter, Rachel, was the eldest of 3. And at a young age, she developed a talent for figure skating. And this is actually a fact I really love about her. So when she was 9, Rachel had the opportunity to move to Toronto for Paris training, but she turned it down. And so it's interesting because I can see a world where she became Artessa Virtue and was beloved by Canada for a different reason. It seems like no matter what happened, this girl was destined to be Canada's sweetheart, like just destined, whether she became an actress or a skater. She's so charismatic. She's such an artist. She's hardworking. I'm just gushing, but I really do feel, I feel like she's just fantastic on so many levels. She's just special, right? You see some people and you're just like, I just want to be around you. I just want to watch you. And she has that movie star quality, that it. But, she didn't decide to move to Toronto and leave her family. She actually got really into theater, and the talented Rachel later attended Toronto's York University, where she received her BFA in theater. And the entire time she was also working in Toronto's theater scene while getting her degree. So clearly we can see the work ethic even from university. After graduation, Rachel appeared as the ingenue in a cult Canadian series, Slings and Arrows, which if you haven't seen it, it's delightful. Yes, in some places it's a little cringe. It's very Canadian. And sometimes it's pretentious, but it is lovely. Have you seen Slings and Arrows?
Sarah, have I seen Slings and Arrows? I think I've watched it 3 times through, which I know sounds insane, but if you grew up in Canada, you know that it was constantly airing, and I loved it. I just loved it, and she was so good in it. And what a fun cast, like of true Canadian icons. It was so fun, and frankly, I think it was ahead of its time. Like that had a little bit of that Schitt's Creek energy, I think, way back early on. I think it would have done well if it made it to the States, but that's just me.
There are Americans who love it. So I think it was hard for them to watch it. But there's an American TV podcast called Appointment TV where they did a special TV book club where they watched it and discussed it. So it definitely has fans. It was the TV critic Catherine Van Arendijk who did that. And so yeah, she's great. She's definitely a lauded TV critic, and she loves that show. So I feel like you're right. If it had aired at the time of streaming and more people could have discovered it, or if it had just been, slightly higher budget, they really spent no money on that. It didn't look great because of it.
It was very Canadian in that sense.
That's why it's cringe, right? It's not cringe because of the acting or the story or the writing. It's just sometimes it just looks so terrible.
Yeah, I know.
But otherwise, excellent show. Maybe they could remake it. Same scripts, same people.
Bring back the same actors, because that was like a Paul Gross milestone. Like I love a Paul Gross moment. And again, if you're outside of Canada, you don't know who the hell we're talking about. But again, Canadian icon. He's been acting forever, and he is so fun in that show. He's the lead.
Canadian icon. It could have been Nathan Fillion, but decided to stay in Canada.
Yes. That's a really good comparison.
Right? And but decided to stay here. Very handsome, like Nathan Fillion. They kind of look like very, very handsome man. But anyway, we could do a whole episode just on Slings and Arrows.
Maybe we will.
Maybe we will.
Next Canada Day.
Exactly.
Watch out.
Great series. Great series. Anyway, this was a show about a Shakespeare festival. It was closely based on Ontario's famous Stratford Festival. Rachel later became so Hollywood famous that she was replaced by Sarah Polley for the 2nd season. And I love that fact that she was replaced by Sarah Polley. What's more Canadian than I was replaced by Sarah Polley, another icon?
Yeah, who we also love so much. Like, how incredible that the two of you were the ones who were like swapped. They're both amazing.
I know.
We're very lucky.
And Sarah Polley will actually, as much as Rachel is not super Hollywood, Sarah Polley is even less Hollywood. I just think it's funny. The only actress who's less Hollywood than Rachel McAdams, they found her.
Although Ironically, Sarah Polley also guest starred in The Studio, Seth Rogen's Apple show, which I loved the irony of because she is so anti-Hollywood, but then she was in a show all about how Hollywood corrupts and takes over, and it was so great. If you haven't watched The Studio, please do. She's amazing in it.
She's very good in that cameo. And there's even a really meta moment where somebody makes a comment about how she's still a good actress. And she is. Yeah. She is still a good actress.
She's so good.
Yeah.
Do more acting, Sarah Polley.
She's very talented. She's absurdly talented. It should be illegal to be that talented. It's not fair to the rest of us.
I love her. She's also very local in the way Rachel was, I feel like, where you can just be walking by U of T and she'll be sitting on the grass, which is literally how I've seen her many times, like cross-legged on the lawn outside U of T on a phone call.
And everyone has some Sarah Polley stories. She is, if you don't have a Sarah Polley and a Drake story, you're not a Torontonian. You need stories about those two people. A Sarah Polley story and a Drake story. Honestly, otherwise, you're not a Torontonian yet.
True.
Okay, so in 2004, the famously gentle Rachel got her big break at the age of 24, playing one of the top Mean Girls of all time. And this was really the golden era of Mean Girls on television and in film, right? The golden era. And she's arguably the best, definitely one of the best. Her performance was so iconic that we still quote her to this day. I regularly tell people to stop trying to make fetch happen. That's because of Rachel. I say that at least once a week. And while Lindsay Lohan was the movie's lead and none other than Amanda Seyfried portrayed one of the B-list titular Mean Girls, it's undeniable that this really was Rachel's movie. Like, she's what makes it iconic. She's what makes it work. People hated Regina George so much. And this is a good thing because she was a villain. They hated her so much that audiences literally cheered in that climactic scene where she gets hit by a bus. In 2020, I love it. In 2026, Rachel told the Graham Norton show, quote, "I didn't know how hated she would be and for how long."
It's got to be interesting because I feel like a new generation keeps discovering it on a continuous cycle. And now recently, Gen Z had a field day with it, which you'll know if you're on social media, and it was everywhere all over again. So I can only imagine the attention that she gets every 5 to 10 years. It's like, you bitch.
I know. Well, it's interesting because she has kids now. And what's going to happen when her children's friends discover this? I don't know, because it's nothing like her actual personality. She's so gentle and she just radiates warmth. And then she's one of her most iconic roles. Literally, she should have won an Oscar for Regina George. I'm not joking. She should have. Hollywood will never take anything that's associated with teens seriously, but it's a brilliant performance.
She's so incredible in it. I love her in it.
So, Sadaf, what do you think made Rachel such a special screen presence from the start?
Ooh, well, I think she's very charming. And we've talked so much on this show about how charm can take you everywhere, but we haven't had enough examples in the way we've talked about them with women. And I think she's such a good example of that. She can be funny and she can be dramatic and she just feels so emotionally porous all the time. Like, I feel like in anything I've watched from when she was younger, so Slings and Arrows, all the way to more recently with Send Help, with that recent one she did, Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret, which was so beautiful. And she plays a supporting role in that as the mom. But again, she steals the whole show. I only remember her. She cannot be in anything without being the only thing, you know what I mean? Even when I think back on The Family Stone, which is one of my favorites, and what an ensemble cast, mind you, but she's still the one who I take away with me more than anyone else. I think she's just really good at playing, first of all, with a great cast, which she did in Mean Girls, she did that in Family Stone, she did that in Slings and Arrows. She's very good at playing against other people and giving them their space, but then chewing the shit out of her own dialogue. She's so good at it. I kind of can't really put my finger on it. I think just the fact that she has all of that really delicious mix of goodness. She works.
Right? Yeah. She's so, so good. It's incredibly naturalistic. I remember Channing Tatum. I think this is a quote from him because I was trying to find it and it was hard to find. I think when he was working with her, he was like, I think it was Channing Tatum, somebody called it 360-degree acting. You can't see the seams. You can't see the performance. It's just it feels so real when you watch her. There's never a moment when you doubt that she is that character. which I just love about her. And one thing that I find so interesting is like you can get her to play a lovely romantic comedy lead, or you can get her to play the meanest person ever. And she makes it work. She makes it work.
That I think is a once in a lifetime talent, truly. Like we just lost Diane Keaton, but in many ways she reminds me of Diane Keaton because Diane could do anything, right? And she also had that sort of America's sweetheart thing, but then with a quirk to it. And I mean, Rachel is not America's, she's Canada's, but she has something special too that sets her apart. It's not a quirk necessarily. I don't know what it is. I think maybe for me, it's that she feels very much like she doesn't need the spotlight. Like she doesn't need the work. She steps out of her cave wherever she is at this rate, like every 5 years maybe, to give us this beautiful performance. Then she goes back. And something about that also adds to
it's true.
She her appeal, I think. Yeah.
She doesn't find the light finds her.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Like in Send Help, I know she's so good in it. Like that's kind of a horror thriller. She plays a psychopath basically in that movie, like hungry, savage, this woman who's being treated terribly at work, crash lands on an island with her boss, and somehow manages to survive, just the two of them, because guess what? She's a big Survivor fan and she knows how to do it. And it's such a different character than anything she's played, and she's unreal at it. Give me more of that. She's such a character actor in a way I think people didn't realize she would become.
Well, I think that's part of the problem. And it kind of reminded me too when we were talking during the Gossip Girl episode about why Leighton Meester didn't become more famous. I think both of them are too pretty for how talented they are. So I think they're both, in Rachel's case, right? She's so conventionally beautiful, but you're right. She is really a character actor who's just so good at playing these juicy parts. And I think there's a reason why both of them actually really excelled at playing mean girls for that reason. But I think that, and I know that being pretty is what helps you succeed in Hollywood. But if you are an interesting performer, you can almost be too talented for the roles that people want you to play, right? Like it's almost like you're just too good to be in this scene. If we think about something like Wedding Crashers, that is a sexist movie that centers two men. And the fact that she's so good in it almost interferes with the movie. Because
and then you're so right. And then again, like I was saying, my theory, she steals every movie, right? Like she's not the focus of Wedding Crashers. And yet.
Mm-hmm. And I can see why if you are a Vince Vaughn, and I'm not saying Vince Vaughn ever said this because I have no idea. I've never met Vince Vaughn. I'm not trying to say that he's sexist, but I could see why a male actor like him would be like, I don't want her in my movie. She's too good, right? I can't compete at that level. So I feel like that's the problem. She's too talented for how pretty she is. If she were a bit more average looking, she'd be in different movies. And she actually does seek those movies out. She tries to be in independent movies. But when she's in a movie playing like a struggling working class person, you're always like, you would have been scouted at the mall to be a model. So I don't believe this either.
It's interesting. And you know who I feel like is living that path that Rachel could have been on if she made a few different decisions is Emily Blunt. I don't know what you think, but I feel like those two are very similar when it comes to their talent. They can both do it all, I think. And Emily is in everything, right? Like right now she's in, I think, 3 movies. And Rachel, meanwhile, we just got Send Help. I don't know if we're going to see her again for another 5 years. So I think that's really interesting too, because Emily really makes an effort at being in everything at all times, genre to genre in 1 year. Rachel really picks and chooses. But I do wonder, you're so right, because I also then think, is she not getting the offers? Like, I get it if she doesn't want to do something like Disclosure Day, which is like this massive box office thing. But I don't know. I'm curious. Like, does she want to do a Devil Wears Prada? What does she want, really?
What does she want? I'm curious, too, because I think that for a lot of her career in the last 5-10 years, I've seen her basically doing things that I think Jennifer Garner turned down. Like, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Like, I think she's fantastic in it. But I feel like they went to Jennifer Garner first, right?
Let me tell you, because I know I just praised it, and I do think she's wonderful in it, but I was aghast when I saw that she was in that movie playing a mom role, which, listen, I love moms, but once women start getting cast as moms, it's hard for them to get out of that trap. Jennifer Garner, my God, what an infamous, devastating example. But God, that's a good point, Sarah. What's going on?
I don't know. And I've always suspected her representation just either was bad or wasn't doing right by her. Like they might have had other clients that they were trying to elevate more. I don't know exactly what happened, but I feel like people didn't advocate for her properly because she should have been Julia Roberts.
Oh my God. Now that could be incredible, couldn't it? Oh my God. Yeah. And I mean, again, it's like a sliding doors situation. I think the Julia Roberts potential is gone now, but I root for her to fall in fully into the Diane Keaton mold. I think it can happen.
Yeah. And so many great actresses come into their own in their 40s and 50s, like Laura Dern, for sure, right? Became an icon in her 40s and 50s. Allison Janney's doing her best, did her best work in middle age and beyond, right? So many people. And I have no doubt this woman will at some point win an Oscar. It'll probably be a Best Supporting Actress Oscar, to be honest. And she might win more than one, but I don't think she'll ever win Best Actress. It's interesting to see. I don't know if she's sad about it, but I'm sad on her behalf because I feel like she had so much more potential and Hollywood is so ageist that, as you said, she's kind of moved out of the ingenue role. There aren't that many interesting roles for someone like that. Like Send Help is great. I'm wondering if she'll get the attention she deserves for that, but
doubt it. I mean, even like that's a great movie, but it came and it went really fast, right? And that's so awful. But that happens with a lot of the work that she's choosing. I don't know. It's interesting. Gosh, I just want her to come back. I don't know if she realizes too, she has a really solid cult fan base. I think it's a lot of us millennials, a lot of queer people. Like, we just want more from you, Rachel, please.
Anybody who loves talent, I feel like loves her, right? If you're just like, I like talented people, right? Obviously, I'm a fan because who hates a talented person? Who?
You know what? She's ahead of her time because she would have fit in really well with that Pacino, Streep, De Niro era. Like that might have been her time. And now people don't know what to do with someone like that. It's so annoying.
No, I think you're right. And I think that she wasn't exactly the right time for a new face, right? Because when she emerged, we already had so many young actors who were doing really well. Like Reese Witherspoon was a star. Like we just didn't really need a new star. If she was 5 years older or 5 years younger, I feel like it would have been great because there are a lot of roles. Like when I was watching A Simple Favor, I was like, no offense to Blake Lively, but Rachel McAdams would have been so much better in that role.
Oh my God, what a thrilling thought. Oh, I love that. Yeah. I mean, you know what? Another great one for Rachel McAdams is Game Night, which I know, again, us cult fans love that movie. She's so funny, right? She's so funny. That just reminded me of that. But she doesn't get comedy roles very often. Send Help is quite funny. So I think Sam Raimi saw that, the director, but maybe that's part of the problem. I think a lot of people, as you said previously, they don't know how to slot her and where to put her. Mind you, she's also not, and I'm saying this without judgment, she's not one of those actresses at her age who's getting any work done. Like she's sticking with her face, her skin, and I love that because we can see her aging and she's aging beautifully. She's not old. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is a lot of the women who are her peers have taken that route. I saw quite a lot of chatter. I haven't watched Disclosure Day yet. Quite a lot of chatter on social media about how distracting Emily Blunt's work has been because her face doesn't move through the whole movie. I will let you know how I feel once I watch it, but I'm not shocked. That's not good. That's not good.
No, it's not good. It's yeah. But I challenge you to do this game. Imagine Rachel McAdams in that part. You always can. You're like, she could do that. She could do that. In that part.
Anything.
There's nothing she can't do. There's nothing Rachel can't do. And that's why we're big fans of hers. And yeah, so it's sad that she wasn't more famous because she could have just all the iconic roles of the past 20 years. I think she could have really done them.
Well, can I ask you this? Do you think if she had stuck with Ryan or had married another famous person, that would have changed things for her?
I don't think so. I think she would have become the prop to him as the wife guy, right? And I don't think being married to the wife guy is good for anyone's career. Honestly, I really don't. If we look, except for, Lily Allen when she left the wife guy. But But it does hold you back. Like we look like an Anna Faris when she was with Chris Pratt. Everyone loved them as a couple when they were together. Obviously, it was a lie, but we loved them. And it was great for his career and not hers, right? So I don't know. I think he would be where he is today, regardless. Maybe even slightly more famous if he just like got over himself and would agree to do a superhero movie, which he never did. You know, if he'd just gotten over himself. And actually, I think if he'd stayed with her, he might have, because she took the Marvel money. So I feel like he might have been like, okay, I'll also take the Marvel money if you're doing it. But no, I think it would have been good for him and not for her. What about you?
Yeah, you convinced me because before I thought, maybe it would help. Just because there's an adjacency in Hollywood that will keep you in the headlines if your partner is. Like, I think if she and Ryan stuck together, God, I mean, in my dreams, let me tell you all, that's too good that I can't even envision what that future would look like. But I think, you know, again, let me go back to the Emily Blunt example. She's with John Krasinski. Her career is still incredible. He's even writing movies for her. His career, not so great. He makes very odd choices. But, no, this is not about Ryan Krasinski. John Krasinski. Cut that. This is not about John Krasinski, but I will say he's a better writer than he is an actor. That being said, they are a good example, I think, of a couple that hasn't become too all-encompassing, although I know some people would disagree with me. Like, I feel like a Blake and Ryan is too much. They are in my face at all times, you know? Did you see those pictures recently from last week where Ryan is carrying Blake on her back and they're going through New York City, and it's so clearly like they hired these paparazzi to combine.
It's too much because who does that? I'm sorry.
Who does that?
My husband like is an action star. He needs his back for work. Like, why would I ever do that? That's so stupid. Like, you're my meal ticket. No, I'm not dumb. We have 4 kids you have to support. As a couple, I really don't like them, but I think that they are perfect for each other. I feel like if he'd stayed with Scarlett Johansson, she'd be like, I'm not doing that. That's cringe. No, thank you.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. Blake has been having this tough period in the tabloids, right? Ryan cleans that up for her. He makes it a little easier on the eyes for everybody, right? And that pap shot felt like a moment to remind people she exists. And she not only exists, but Ryan Reynolds chose her. Ryan Reynolds, another Canadian favorite. So I think that can help you maybe when you're having a hard time, but you've convinced me because I think you're right. It may benefit men in more ways than it benefits the women in these situations. And I don't know how it would work for Rachel. I do think it's almost like a kind of networking opportunity who you choose to marry in Hollywood, right? Like for Emily, now she has someone who can write her these great screenplays. Whereas for Blake, she has a man who can clean up her whole image if she wants him to. And the financial support, God knows. And then with Rachel, I don't even know the name of the man she's
He's a
married
screenwriter.
To. One time. He is, right?
Yeah.
Jamie Linden? Is it Jamie
Yeah,
Linden?
I think they're just genuinely in love. I think she found someone that she really likes.
Yeah, and God bless that. Like, I love that. We want that for them. But I do think in some ways it can help you, but you're right. In some ways it can hurt you. So who knows?
Okay, so we've discussed Rachel McAdams. So we're going to take a break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about the other half of the couple that would be known as McGosling.
Hi, Donovan Woods here.
Hey, it's me, Tom Power.
We're here to tell you about our brand new podcast. It's called The Big Five.
So, Donovan, what is The Big Five?
Yeah, exactly. What is The Big Five? That's what The Big Five is all about. Every week, Tom and I will sit down with a special guest and dive into new topics, debating things like, what are the Big Five farm animals? The Big Five types of hat? The Big Five guys named Paul?
Martin, Revere, Mezcal, McCartney, John Paul II.
The debate is settled by a listener from somewhere across the country. It's like a game show.
It is a game show.
The Big Five, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
And we're back. So we have discussed Rachel, and now we need to talk about Ryan. Like Rachel, he was born in the London, Ontario area, which I think is really interesting. I mean, they were both born in the larger area of London, Ontario, in different towns. But I love this. I think, like, what are the chances? And it makes
Weren't they also born in the same hospital, or am I wrong?
Okay,
Like,
I don't know about that. Is that true?
I may have associated that with the wrong couple.
That's
but I remember
possible.
there were coincidences about how they grew up.
It is amazing regardless. Like this couple feels fated. What are the chances that two of the sexiest people this country has ever produced would have been born so close to each other and then would end up dating, right? Like, just what are the chances?
Let me have my baby in that hospital. They will be born beautiful.
Oh, yeah. The hot baby hospital? Like, yes. Okay.
Hot baby hospital.
Okay. So what is interesting, though, is that the similarities do stop pretty quickly because, well, Rachel had that upbringing that was very normal, very down to earth. She did figure skating, she did theater, she went to university, she got a BFA. Ryan became a child star. He did not have the privilege of that kind of an upbringing where you kind of get to become a full person. And I do sometimes wonder if that might have influenced their breakup because she had such a normal life and then kind of chose acting. I don't know at what point a child can actually choose acting. I don't know if they can actually consent, but anyway, his path was very different. Ryan's career began at the age of 13 when he joined other future stars like Britney Spears and Carrie Russell on the Mickey Mouse Club, or the new Mickey Mouse Club. The show premiered in 1993. Now, many fans struggle to remember Ryan on this series and what he did because by his own admission, his singing and dancing abilities were not as strong as his peers. So he was often in the background during musical scenes. He wasn't really doing much. So this is when, I shouldn't say his career began here, but this is when it kind of took off, right? He was a child actor. This is, the moment. I believe he had been, auditioning and doing things, but this is his moment, except it doesn't really end up becoming his moment because there are so many other people who were more talented in singing and dancing, right? Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, right? Like, he's not in NSYNC, right? For a reason, okay? In 2010, Ryan told Interview Magazine, quote, "It was kind of depressing because when I got there, they realized that I wasn't really up to snuff in comparison with what some of the other kids were able to do." He talks about how there were 7 kids, 3 of whom were Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, and Justin Timberlake.
Yikes.
I also love that Carrie Russell was there, who I feel like was probably in a similar boat, where it's like, I'm really good at acting, but why am I here?
Yeah, I can't even understand how Carrie ended up there of all people. How bizarre.
She's also older.
I think so, right? I mean, this is another sliding doors situation. Like, there's a Carrie Russell out there who maybe became a pop star. Like, I just can't comprehend it.
It's very strange. So anyway, it is what it is. That's kind of, I think, where his lifelong love of Disney came from, though, because he loves Disney. This man loves Disneyland. He, convinced John Stamos to embrace his love of Disney. John Stamos talks about that, where he wasn't comfortable with loving Disney as an adult, and then Ryan Gosling is this Disney adult who's like, Disney's great. So
this is what I love about Ryan. He has such a wholesome energy in that way, and it surprises me because I think he's such a theater kid, really, at heart, and yet he hasn't done theater, and I bet he could. He has a singing voice. Lest we forget, he has a band that's quite good that I like. Why has he not done theater? I think he'd be great. I think he'd have a bit of a Hugh Jackman energy, though, but could be done.
Yeah, and he was really good in La La Land. I don't know if it's that he craves more variety, because theater, you had to bring your A game to do the same material every night for months. And so
theater's hard. I think
it requires a lot of discipline. And if you like novelty, it's maybe not going to be for you. So I don't know if that's the issue. I don't know, Ryan, call in and tell us, what is the issue? Why have you not done theater? Because we feel like you could win a Tony. Anyway, that's...
Oh, he will. He will, Sarah.
Maybe
Mark
one
my
day,
words.
if he wants to EGOT, this man could EGOT. And he's not as far along on the EGOT journey as I thought he would be by this point.
He's one of those actors that I think, in some ways, similar to Rachel, although Rachel has a harder time, certainly, but he gets the attention a la Leo, but he just never gets that further push where he gets the official recognition. I think in some ways that works in his favor. Sometimes you don't want all that recognition. Sometimes it's better to hang back a little bit. In the same way, I do think he could get a Best Actor Oscar, but he also may get a Best Supporting first. Who knows?
I think so. He really should have won an Oscar for playing Ken. In
oh my God, what
Barbie.
A phenomenal performance, man. And that's another one where he is playing supporting, but he's so fucking good at it and brought something so original. Like, I don't think anyone could have given that performance. No one else could do that.
He doesn't have any vanity. Neither does Rachel. They're two really hot people. And you know what? Maybe when you're that hot,
Sarah.
You don't need to have vanity because you just always look good. You can make a fool of yourself. You're not worried. So I don't know if that's just their intense pretty person
but
privilege.
You know what, though? Let me say this, because when he was a kid, and again, as I said, we saw him grow up here in Canada, he was very dorky, right? Like, he was not the cute kid. I say that with love. I was the same. And he had the same thing, I think, at that time, where he had no vanity. Like, he would go for it all. He has somehow kept that childlike willingness to do whatever the hell that most child stars lose. Like, if you do want to look it up, you can find videos of him dancing and performing. And oh my God, it's the goofiest, most precious thing. He had no problem making a damn fool of himself then and now.
Yeah. And so he later does a lot of YTV work. He kind of comes back to Canada. He later appeared in Canadian TV series like Are You Afraid of the Dark? Which I loved, actually. That's a great show.
Oh my God. Like, I would watch it right now. I can't even tell you how much I loved it. And I believe he popped up a few times, right?
Yeah. So he's on Are You Afraid of the Dark as well as Breaker High.
Oh,
and people loved him on Breaker High. That is his Slings and Arrows. That is a Canadian TV show.
And arrows. In fact, I bet you that I had nights where I did both back to back. I bet you there were nights I did Breaker High and Slings and Arrows.
I'm sure a lot of us
gifted.
did. Oh my God. Great era. YTV in this era, just nothing but the hits, just slaying.
Absolutely.
I remember when the Canada Television Fund had more money to give, it produced great stuff, great work.
I know. Well, as any millennial, we do believe we had it best. And yeah, we did. Okay, I'm sorry, we did.
Canadian pop culture, this was a great moment. Was it embraced by the Americans? No, it didn't have the production values. So it wasn't like that era. It wasn't heated rivalry era. But did it mean a lot to us? Like Train 48
deeply.
As well? Just genius.
Oh, yeah.
Genius.
I do think Are You Afraid of the Dark did get some attention in the States, if I'm not wrong. But I don't think they knew about Breaker High or System Crash or Student Bodies. Do you remember those?
My God, great shows. Here's the thing. In this country, for American listeners, we have something called Canadian content laws. So a certain percentage of what you show on TV has to be Canadian. And that's why all these shows were produced. And we did historically have a decent amount of funding for creating Canadian TV as well. Honestly, I think this is great. Canadian content is wonderful. Where it's really paid off, actually, not so much TV, in music, it did help a lot of amazing musicians get their start because of Canadian content rules. So people like Anne Murray, Sarah McLachlan, very, very talented, but also it helps people come to prominence. So they are effective. I'm a big believer in CanCon rules. I will defend them to the death.
Okay, so yeah, this is a huge debate here among culture critics, and I'm with you. Maybe the percentage should be lower, but I'm not mad at it because I also grew up loving so much of the Canadian content that we had. Most of my favorite artists, which is I only realized recently when I did an audit, a mental audit. Most of my favorite artists are Canadian. And I don't think a lot of people can say that just anywhere, but it's because of those rules that I had that exposure. So I don't know. I think there's things to say for it and things to say against it, but it is what brought these two to life, right? Ryan and Rachel.
It gave them their start. And I do believe it's important for us, just as a sovereign country, to see images of people doing Canadian stuff. Even something as simple as like saying I'm in grade 11 as opposed to 11th grade, right? Like stuff like that. So you feel seen. And, I don't want to watch an American teen show where everyone's obsessed with the SAT, right? I don't want that. Oh my
God, so true.
I like on Degrassi how they never talk about the SATs. They don't talk about it because it doesn't matter because they don't write it. So
that's so true.
I do think it's important.
There's also this other thing, and I wonder if you agree, Sarah, that I also feel like by having actors like them and shows like those, there's something about it that feels very possible. They feel very local. I mean, not just seeing Rachel McAdams bike through the city, which I think everyone has, or Sarah Polley sitting outside on a phone call. There's something about these actors that feels so local, so accessible. And when you see them on TV and these CanCon shows, whatever it is, it feels like, okay, I can do that too if that's something that I do want in life, which I don't know that they have in the States in the same way. I can't imagine that they do. Hollywood, there's no way that feels accessible wherever you are over there. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely
They do call
not.
this Hollywood North, and I know that's cringy for a lot of people, but it has given a good solid start to a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will defend it. I mean, there are probably better ways we could run the Canadian content system. And for a long time, it did disproportionately benefit white people. So that's another thing we do have to acknowledge. But the premise of a Canadian content system is something that I think is a good thing. So back to Ryan's career, because we could talk about all these asides all day.
All My God, look at us.
So another thing he did, which is probably the cringiest thing he's ever done, is he portrayed the mythical figure of Hercules in a short-lived 90s series called Young Hercules. Remember how big into myths like Hercules we were? Remember Xena Warrior Princess? This is a 90s thing.
Oh, good connection. I have to tell you though, I loved Hercules, like the animated film, of course. Like I think everybody adored that, but I also enjoyed Young Hercules. However, I think part of what the shift for me was I was like, hey, that gawky kid in all the shows I watch is suddenly kind of hot. What's going on? And my puberty was coming through and I was like, oh, he has muscles. Because listen, guys, on Breaker High, he was a skinny shrimp. Like he was skin and bones. Suddenly we get to Young Hercules and Ryan is starting to like perk up. And I was like, who's that? Hey.
Yeah, absolutely. So none of these shows really helped him break through. What's interesting is he gets a lot of opportunities for a big break and it doesn't happen, right? It just, Mickey Mouse Club doesn't break big. You've got Young Hercules, still not breaking big, right? And there is a bit of male privilege here because women do not get this many chances.
No way.
At all. Rachel broke big pretty much immediately. And had she not, it wouldn't have worked out for her.
Yeah, which is still a rare example, right?
Exactly. In the year 2000, Ryan finally got the opportunity to do some high profile and dignified work when he played a football hero whose team racially integrates in the classic film Remember the Titans.
Yes.
Do you remember this movie?
You know why I remember it? So many of my supply teachers would wheel this in on the VHS and show it to us in class. I think for that reason, I have seen it 100 times.
Really? I mean, yeah. I guess it has a good message. It's historical. It's based on a true story.
Yeah.
But that's some lazy supply teaching.
Very lazy, but it was another Canadian favorite. I don't know that it is Canadian,
it's not
but
Canadian.
Canadians loved it.
Canadians loved it because of Ryan, right? No,
I think so.
It is a really good movie and it has a great depiction of somebody who is living with a disability as well. That, spoiler alert, Ryan does that because the character he plays has an accident. So it's a fantastic movie. I mean, for what it is, for the era. Is it perfect? No. Would it probably be a lot different today? Yes. Still, the cast is so charismatic. They sing along to one of the greatest songs of all time. I'm not going to spoil that musical scene for everyone, but just if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. If you have seen the movie, you know what I mean. It's a great.
It's a good background watch if you haven't done it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then he got to do some very edgy work in 2001. He was in this movie called The Believer that actually, if you haven't seen, it's very disturbing, but it's a wonderful performance. It tells the story of a highly intelligent young man who becomes a neo-Nazi despite himself being Jewish. In his review of the film, Roger Ebert referred to Ryan Gosling as, quote, at 22, a powerful actor. So he was one to watch. Roger Ebert knew his name and thought he was great. That's high praise. We love Roger Ebert.
High praise.
On
Yeah,
Reheat.
we do.
So Sadaf, I know you were a fan of Ryan's early work. What did you really make of this Canadian-born heartthrob? Like, did you think he was going to become a star, or did you just sort of think he was cute and enjoy seeing him on your screen?
The second bit there. Absolutely. No, I never thought he'd become a star. Again, one of the drawbacks, because we did talk about how useful it can be to be so local and present in this way on a big platform. One of the drawbacks, though, is that it's hard to escape that, right? I never imagined this guy who feels like he lives next door, literally, could possibly become a Hollywood actor. It's still pretty wild when I think about it, that's that guy and like Hail Mary killing it at the box office. It's so weird. But I love it. I mean, there's something special, and I know a lot of Canadians are courting like this. It feels like that's our guy. We made him, and look where he is. He's one of us, and I do feel that with him. He's one of my I was obsessed with him, probably to a bad degree, where definitely had the posters on my locker, but I also watched The Believer when I was way too young. I was not ready to watch that or understand it, but I was working my way through his filmography as one does. Oh, I am, Sarah. I am. I think I have watched pretty much everything he's ever done. And like Roger Ebert, I was like, wow, man, that's not my guy from Breaker High. Who the hell is that? It was such a shift. I think that's the other part, right? Suddenly he was doing really juicy, dramatic work, not the goofy, silly stuff he was doing here. But it's smart because I think that's what helped him make the pivot. It showed people he can do so much more, hardcore. He went into that direction. It's fascinating. I still am in shock. What about you, Sarah?
No, I've always been a fan of him as an actor. I mean, my favorite Ryan Gosling performance is Lars and the Real Girl. I think it always will be. I think it's very charming. It's a very sweet movie. And a very specific story. Great cast, actually. Emily Mortimer is fantastic in it as well.
It's also a great woman.
Also great. So I don't think I saw enough of Breaker High to feel like I knew who he was from Breaker High. I kind of thought in the background, I think I was slightly too old to be obsessed with Breaker High. I do think it's a great show. I did love Are You Afraid of the Dark? But I don't think I thought anyone on Are You Afraid of the Dark would succeed in life. I mean, I thought that they'd succeed in other ways, but I didn't think anyone would become an actor. I thought, you're doing this.
Well, we've got
they'll do something
Ross.
else.
Who now we know is a very accomplished local weatherman, which again, what I mean when I say local, that's local. And some of you are going to think that I'm shading him. I am not. I think it's wonderful.
Local weather is important.
Absolutely. And I like seeing my local meteorologist, after having watched him for years, scare me with his stories. Are you afraid of the dark?
Yeah. Climate change is scary. So those two things are of a piece. I feel like it's a natural transition for his life. Yeah. Yes. No, I am all about that. So, but when I saw him in Remember the Titans, you sort of see that and you're like, there's star quality there. Right. You know that he's going to succeed. So I feel like that's when I thought, first became aware of him as a person and knew his name. And then there was no doubt in my mind that he would be successful.
You shared your favorite Ryan movie. Can I share mine?
Yeah.
So Drive, which I know is for a lot of people, but also Blue Valentine. And when I think about those two, again, very wild considering how different the material and the genre is, right? And how phenomenal he is in both. In Drive, he plays this very steely, strong, impenetrable, relatively mute character, right? Who helps, let's put it this way, shady people pull off shady crimes. He's a getaway driver. And then in Blue Valentine, we watch, God, one of the most devastating movies I've ever watched. I don't think I can do it again. But alongside Michelle Williams, he plays a man who's this really sweet, wonderful, romantic partner. And we watch them over years and how it evolves. And he doesn't stay being that great guy. It's such different work. And he is so good at it all. It's kind of unreal. And he's also done a lot of SNL. And he's been great there. He's just, there's something about this guy. He can do it all. Just like Rachel. Has Rachel done Saturday Night Live?
I don't know, actually. I think she would be great on it, but I'm not sure.
She would be.
We can Google that. But I mean, I imagine she has at this point, but.
Oh, no, okay. So Rachel McAdams, she has done a surprise cameo in 2024, and she introduced Renee Rapp for a performance that was Mean Girls related, but that's it. Wow, I'm actually shocked that she hasn't formally done an episode.
I am too, and this is all part of the thing where she's just not as famous as she should be.
No,
right?
I agree. And I think people have trouble seeing her overall as a comedian, and I don't understand that because I think she's very funny. But anyway,
you don't have to be funny. You don't have to be a comedian to host that SNL. January Jones has hosted SNL.
That's wild. That's wild.
I know. So I'm just saying, the bar is not super high. So I don't understand why she hasn't been invited to do
and again, may I add, I love January Jones. She's not someone who I would want to see on Saturday Night Live. I don't think she has the comic timing. She could be funny, but for a sketch show, no, come on now. Respectfully,
no. Okay, so now that we know both of these people and their origin stories, we've discussed them. We've discussed how they came of age. Let's discuss how they eventually came together. When New Line Cinema bought the rights to Nicholas Sparks' 1996 romance, The Notebook, it was on the path to being a very different movie from the one we know today. For example, there was a time when Steven Spielberg was interested in directing it. And who did he see as the male lead? That's right, Sadaf's problematic favorite, Tom Cruise, who, let's just say it, was way too old for the part, even in the 1990s.
He was. Listen, I love that man, but I cannot see him in that role. No, I'm sorry, Thomas.
No, that's ridiculous. Eventually, director Nick Cassavetes came on board the project, and basically every popular white actress under 40 was considered to play Allie. We're talking Jessica Biel, Amy Adams, Scarlett Johansson, Claire Danes, Reese Witherspoon, and many more.
Wow. Competitive peers, like even now.
Actually, yeah, it is a murderer's row. But eventually the choice came down to Rachel and one other person who is not Reese Witherspoon. It's Britney Spears was the other person they were considering.
This is so wild. When had Crossroads come out? Like, had Crossroads just come out?
I believe it. Let's
check
that.
She was actually, I know, again, I love having a wild opinion, but I felt like she wasn't too bad in Crossroads. So that was 2002.
Okay, yeah. So Crossroads had come out.
Yeah, I think they probably were like, do we want the box office buzz of Britney?
Yeah, there was also almost a version of Gossip Girl where she was Serena van der Woodsen, which we've mentioned before. So she was kind of considered for everything. She was in the top 2 for everything at the time.
And by the way, can I also just say about Britney, I believe Nick also said, the director, that she had a really good audition. I mean, is that true? I don't know, but I just want to throw that out there in Britney's defense.
Okay. Sure. Sure.
Sarah's giving me a side.
Sure. I just don't see her as an actress.
Oh, same.
So Rachel was still pretty unknown at this point, so she won the part on pure merit. Cassavetes has said when Rachel McAdams came in and read, it was apparent that she was the one. Rachel and Ryan had great chemistry between them. So Sadaf, can you envision The Notebook with any other combination of actors? What do you think made this casting so special?
You know what I'm going to say. God, no. Can you imagine Emily Blunt and John Krasinski playing these two? Absolutely not. Laugh break. That was a hell of a cackle. And that cackle says everything, because no, we cannot. These two worked because, again, they match each other so well in terms of talent, but also they're beautiful. And they also had that heat. They had that really specific chemistry that leaped off the goddamn screen. I can still watch it to this day, despite that devastating end, just because I like to watch them together.
Oh, absolutely. So I think it's time for another short break, and then we have so much more tea to spill.
Hi, Donovan Woods here.
Hey, it's me, Tom Power.
We're here to tell you about our brand new podcast. It's called The Big Five.
So, Donovan, what is The Big Five?
Yeah, exactly. What is The Big Five? That's what The Big Five is all about. Every week, Tom and I will sit down with a special guest and dive into new topics, debating things like, what are the Big Five farm animals? The Big Five types of hat? The Big Five guys named Paul?
Martin, Revere, Mezcal, McCartney, John Paul II.
The debate is settled by a listener from somewhere across the country. It's like a game show.
It is a game show.
The Big Five, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
And we're back. Rachel and Ryan's legendary chemistry was not initially built on love. When they came together to make The Notebook, they hated each other at first. It's the story of two lovers who spend a lifetime together, but it didn't look at the time like Rachel and Ryan could even successfully have a lunch together. They really were not fans of one another. Okay. In fact, Rachel and Ryan were a classic enemies to lovers story, which I love. I love some belligerent sexual tension. That's my favorite trope.
You know I do too. Yeah.
And we know it's toxic, but we adore this. Okay. And
I
so
love a little toxicity. Come on.
Why not?
Again, we're millennials. We're of that time.
Make it edgy. Years after filming, Ryan reflected on his acrimonious initial relationship with then co-star Rachel McAdams. He told The Guardian, "We inspired the worst in each other. It was a strange experience making a love story and not getting along with your co-star." So they actually got along so badly that at one point, Ryan even asked if another actress could come in and stand in for Rachel while he filmed his lines. And Cassavetes intervened to help them work together. He just wouldn't tolerate that. And it seemed to sort itself out. I mean, the movie exists. They successfully finished it. When The Notebook was released in the summer of 2004, it became a huge hit. On a budget of just $29 million, the epic love story brought in over $118 million at the box office, and it also became a cult classic. Apparently, Justin and Hailey Bieber showed the film during their wedding festivities as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh.
It's a classic love story at this point. A year after the film's release, Rachel and Ryan began their evolution from enemies to lovers. So in 2005, they won Best Kiss at the MTV Movie Awards. And they accepted the prize by making out on stage.
Oh my God, Sarah.
There was lots of hair pulling. And my favorite detail, which I think shows that Ryan did always like Rachel, is that he was chewing gum beforehand. So I don't think you do that if you hate a girl. I think if you want her to like you, you're worried about your breath. So he's chewing gum. And then there's so much hair pulling. He's more into the making out than she is, I think. Like, if you watch that, he's clearly really, really excited to be kissing her.
I mean, honestly, I think they were both so pumped. Like, they both looked so smitten. I have this moment playing through my brain right now. I don't know if anybody's watched it more than I have on YouTube. I wonder how many views that YouTube video has, because I know we all just replayed and replayed and replayed. The way that she jumps into his arms, he has no problem holding her. The audience is losing their fucking minds. He's holding her, like carrying her on her hip this whole time, and it is so sexy. They both look smitten after the kiss, like a little embarrassed, but he's got that gum going. Just like, oh.
I love the details. I love it.
Yeah.
Soon they were an item. Ryan Gosling himself has admitted that he's not sure how he and Rachel got together romantically. I feel like he does, but he just won't say. What he has said is this: "I don't know what happened. 2 years later, I saw her in New York, and we started getting the idea that maybe we were wrong about each other." I think they just matured, right? When you're in high school or when you're a young adult in university, when you're young, like, under 25, and you're really physically attracted to someone, you don't know how to handle that. And it might be that you've never been this physically attracted to someone before in your life. These people were still young, right?
That's true. That's true.
I am sure, I know that they had previous lovers, let's put it that way. But when you finally meet someone where you're just really into them, it can be a bit overwhelming, and you can feel, I think, overstimulated. We know kids get overstimulated. People under 25, their brains are still developing. So I feel like it just might have been too much, and they needed a couple years to mature. That's my theory.
I do think you're spot on. I also feel like when you have really immense chemistry with someone and sexual tension, it can easily just feel like, oh, I just hate them. Like, you don't know what to make of that strong feeling and energy, and it can really go either way. And I know, again, I'm going to be a little corny, but I do think the line between love and hate is very, very small. It's very, very narrow, and it's very, very blurry. And they were working probably crazy hours. They were in so many scenes together. That movie hinged entirely on both of their shoulders. And even though Ryan had more of a profile at that point, they were still relatively new to Hollywood. So it must have felt like a lot of pressure. So I feel like they probably were taking that out on each other to some degree. I think it was only a matter of time till one day they just looked at each other and were like, wait, there's actually maybe more to this, and you're kind of hot. And I think it makes sense. It took maybe a couple of years. I don't know if I buy that it was 2 years, but because I do think they were already together by the time the awards show landed, right? And I don't know. I think it is one of those things that they had to see each other outside of the context of the film, is my assumption.
I think so. Yes, absolutely. Well,
if you have someone you hate, let me put it this way, at work, at school, wherever, reassess. Is that hate? What is that? I am one of those clowns who, even at 36, I still operate this way with people that I like romantically, where I act like I hate them, but I don't. Just because, as Sarah put it perfectly, I get overwhelmed. I do not handle my feelings. And I just think, let me clown you a little bit so that I can feel like I have the upper hand. You know, it's kind of a control issue too, I think. But
yeah.
anyway.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it is a control issue. And definitely like my first few boyfriends, I think thought I hated them at first.
Yeah,
but I didn't.
I've done that with everyone. I swear to God. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
there's something sexy about it too.
Well, there's something really sexy about it.
Yeah.
And you just don't know. You're like, why is this person making me feel this way? And so you just repress it and decide that you detest them. But it's, yes, absolutely. And
plus there's nothing like a little hateful banter. Let me just say.
Oh my goodness. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I remember one of my first boyfriends, the first thing he said to me was he told me a really offensive joke that was quite mean. And you listen, I remember telling my daughter, when boys are mean to you, that doesn't mean they like you. Don't fall for that. It kind of does. I wish that weren't true. I wish it weren't true, but it is. If a guy is really mean to you, oftentimes at that age, it means he likes you. And,
completely agreed.
Yeah. And so Ryan clearly always liked her. She probably always liked him. In my experience, for me, it was usually the guy who started being mean to me. And then I hated him. And then I realized he liked me.
Although as I've gotten older, it's become more me. I swear to God, every man that I've dated, maybe I shouldn't reveal this, but every man that I've dated has told me, you're mean to me. You're really mean to me.
Okay.
It's like, am I? Why are you still here? Because they like it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like
men.
It's mutual.
Oh, yeah. No, they really like it. They really like it when you're kind of mean and tell them what to do. I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's Freudian, but yeah, that is absolutely. Okay. So, all right. So soon, Rachel and Ryan were everywhere. They were like lightning in a bottle. The only thing I think would cause as much fanfare today as these two co-stars from the friggin' Notebook dating would be if the stars of Heated Rivalry dated IRL. Right? I think that would cause as much of a tizzy, but that's the only thing I can think of today.
That would be great.
So I think the world felt like we manifested this. We saw them in the Notebook. We thought, wouldn't it be great if they were together in real life? And then they were. They were one of the most beloved couples on the popular gossip blogs of the day. And if you don't remember this time period with gossip blogs, they were so much fun. Problematic in many ways, but so much fun. Perez Hilton loved them. He was a big fan. A gossip blog that still exists is LaineyGossip.com. And Lainey was a huge fan. They were veritable royalty on her website. And I can still lose days on her website. You can just go to the archives of Lainey Gossip and you will see the many articles that dissect the couple's PDA on their Toronto outings. In 2006, Lainey described McGosling, as they were known by fans, as, quote, the Notebook come to life. And isn't that just everyone's dream? She also asked readers, quote, who doesn't love Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams? The answer is no one. We all loved them. Sadaf, why do you think we were so obsessed with these lovers? Why are they one of the all-time great couples? Because clearly they are. People on Reddit still wax nostalgic about them, the days when they were together. Are there any celebrity couples today who rival them? Right? Because I don't know if there are. I don't think there are. I think this is a moment in time.
Well, I think you answered it yourself. I think there's something so special and satisfying when we see on-screen couples become real-life couples, because it's the fantasy that we see playing out come to life. It's the ultimate parasocial dream, right? You mentioned these blogs. I wrote a whole article for The Cut maybe 5 years ago. They used to have a really fun column. I don't think they have it anymore, where they look back on fun pop culture moments and why they've stayed with us. And so I pitched seeing Ryan and Rachel making out in Toronto in the annex, that really infamous set of photos. And I couldn't get over it because I remember it was a really hot summer and they both looked like, the way that I've always described it is they both looked well fucked. Like they looked like they literally crawled out of bed, not even bothered with the shower, gone to get a coffee, practically having sex outside. Like you could tell they were resisting, like fighting the urge. I'm going to go back in bed in 2 minutes. And I think And I remember the feedback for that article was so immense. Like people were just like, I can't forget it. Yes, yes. And that's when I realized it's not just me. Like we all dreamt of this couple being together. And I think you're right. Heated Rivalry is the only one that can really rival it. Like I can't think of another couple. I used to when I was younger. I mean, I'm not that old, but like you guys know I love my Tom Hanks. I wanted him and Meg Ryan to be together. Like I think there's couples like that. I don't think we have them now anymore. And I think part of that is because romance films are not the same and rom-coms are not the same. The Notebook, say what you will of Nicholas Sparks, but that was a damn good story. He has a habit, not even a habit, it's a full-on thing he does in every book. There's a devastating ending where basically everybody dies. Spoiler alert. But with the Notebook, it's fine. It works if you just have that as a standalone work. It's really good. And he hasn't had a better movie since Her Story. I don't know that we're ever going to get good romance movies like that again, so we don't have couples we root for in the same way. That's my guess. What do you think, Sarah?
I think it's part of it. I think they're less manufactured than celebrities are today. And listen, they were already manufactured. It's not like celebrities were super authentic in the OOs. They were not. But there were still vestiges of a real person, right? It didn't feel completely like a studio put them together, which we know happens all the time, that people are told to date other people because it's good for their careers. We also didn't know too much about them, right? So when somebody like Timothée Chalamet is dating a Jenner, and I'm not trying to criticize the Jenners, but like the Jenners are so exposed, right? Because it's their life that they put on TV. That's how they make money. And I feel like there was a little bit of mystery about Ryan and Rachel, right? Because we didn't know everything about them. And so when we saw the PDA, it felt special. And that just, I think we would go even crazier for it today, honestly, because we're just not used to these things that look authentic like that. We're not used to these couples. I mean, you just mentioned Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, like staging PDA, right? We get that today. And this, I think, might have been one of the last historical instances of real, authentic sexual chemistry manifesting in terms of PDA, right? Where just they couldn't keep their hands off each other. It felt real. I mean, I think an enemies to lovers situation, people are going to hate me for saying this, but it produces the best chemistry because you're so repressed for so long when you feel like you can't touch this person. And then when you can finally admit it, the release you feel is
Sarah.
Fantastic.
Sarah and I are both heated up right now.
I'm just saying, when you're that age and you finally can admit you like someone.
Any age,
fine. I only have experience of doing this when I was younger.
I'm still this toxic. So there you go.
But I do get nostalgic for those times when you can kind of admit you like someone and then it's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, nothing like it.
And then you just can't keep your hands off each other. But anyway, nothing like it. Honestly, we don't have a couple like this today. And I don't know if we ever will again. It's really unfortunate. Also, I just don't know if you're going to have people who become famous simply because they're talented again. So I don't even know if these people would have become famous in 2026.
That's an interesting thought. Maybe that's a part of it too. Like couples like this. And, you could say that for the Heated Rivalry pair too. But yeah, like that adds an extra element, doesn't it? Because I think it adds a certain depth to it. I don't watch Off Campus. I have seen rumors and talk on Duwan wherever that one of the couples or two of the cast members are now dating in real life. And I saw kids freaking out about that in the comments. Of course, I don't watch the show. I'm not in that world, so I don't know about it. But I was thinking like maybe for them, that's like a version of this. I can certainly imagine. But I feel like we deserve more. Like, again, it's got to be at a bigger scale, maybe. And I think, we're just not primed in the same way. The world is not built anymore for couples like that.
And what happened afterwards is I think that's when you got a lot of these manufactured relationships. And Hollywood had always done this. We know for a fact Hollywood had always done this. But I think there emerged a trend. Like part of me wonders if Blake Lively and Penn Badgley ever really dated or if they were trying to do the McGosling
I think
thing.
They did. I do think,
you think they did.
Even though I think it didn't seem like a natural fit for Penn Badgley, I do believe they did because it was years. You would see them together all the time. I think they were together, but I agree with you. it's so manufactured now. For instance, dare I take it back to the A Star is Born era, the more recent one, which I deeply, deeply loved. And I wanted so badly for Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper to be together in real life. And God knows they teased us relentlessly to the point where I was so convinced. And I do feel I'm often never wrong, but I was wrong. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure this was a very active and thought through campaign on their and their team's parts to make it seem that way and play up the movie a little bit. And they have incredible chemistry in the movie. Maybe they did hook up. Who knows? But I don't know that it was ever a real thing, but it did influence me to watch that movie 100 more times. So it works. You can get away with it, but it feels deceitful in the end.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the few really authentic, like, I don't think it ever occurred to anyone that they were doing this for their careers, right? I don't think it occurred to them. I don't think it was on anyone's mind. It did get them a lot of attention, but it seemed so real, right? It seemed very real in a way that even when Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson dated, it didn't feel as real. It didn't feel as real. It felt more like, are you guys like, yes, attracted to each other and you're around each other a lot, but also trying to promote yourselves professionally?
No,
like, is that
you're
what's
right.
happening?
I wonder if it's also because they were so young. Like, it was just hard to buy into it. And I do think that was, for me anyway, like a question of talent. Like, it goes back to what we were talking about. I don't think either of them were very good at that age. And that movie was not great personally. Don't hate me, everyone. So I do think that was part of it too, right? Like, so much of what was happening with that movie and the way that it was made was not authentic and heavily manufactured. And so maybe that's part of why it didn't feel so good. Can I throw out a couple who I would have loved to see and would still love to see together? Tessa Thompson and Michael B. Jordan, who also have unbelievable sexual chemistry in the Creed movies. And whenever they walk a red carpet together, oh my God, I can't breathe. Like, they are so enamored and so they can't stop touching each other and giggling at each other. And I can see that they make each other's hearts fly. I believe she is bisexual. So listen, guys, if you ever want to get together, you'd make me happy. I'd love to see it.
That sounds like a great couple. I would love to see that as well. I'm wondering what's keeping them apart, but I mean, I guess I don't know them.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, that's where we hit a wall, right? As viewers and fans, we can't ultimately know what's going on over there. Like, maybe they just don't work together in that way. And maybe they have the chemistry, but they just, I don't know. I have no idea.
And sometimes there are people you like to flirt with but don't want to date. And these are people who are, they're not like 22. They might know what they need from a partner and therefore just don't want to date each other because they know they're not compatible. But that doesn't mean you don't think that that person is hot still. So you want to flirt with them.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And, I will say, for what it's worth, the rumor has been that she prefers dating women as of late. So I don't know if that's part of it, but just throwing that out there. How can one resist MBJ?
I mean, I agree with you, but I mean, Tessa Thompson,
gorgeous.
Fair enough. Like, she's around lots of people who are super hot all the time.
Herself,
and she's also
God
really
knows.
beautiful. And and she's been working with beautiful people since she was very young, right?
Can you imagine, though, being in that space where you are working with beautiful people all the time on every project? I'd fall in love every day. Every day.
I definitely would. That's why I couldn't do it. Right?
Yeah.
It would just be very difficult for me.
I know. Well, you know what? Another one, Mindy and BJ on The Office, that they were dating in real life. Much more problematic one, because I think they had a lot of drama between them. But like that, I remember being so overjoyed to hear about. Not to the level of Rachel and Ryan. Very, very different. But they had a lot of fans of their relationship. So
they did have a lot of fans. And there are also now new reports. Some people believe they have found evidence that he is the father of Mindy's children, which
I still reject this, but I know you are kind of like, maybe.
I think he is that bad a guy that he would have children with her and then just like see them fairly rarely and let her do all the work and then continue to date younger women. I think for whatever reason, she is this toxically attached to this man.
That's wild, man.
It's really sad. It's really tragic. But I think that this is what has happened.
That's horrific.
Yeah, I could see him being like, I have good genes. I should have children. And her being like, can I have your children? He'd be like, absolutely. Take my sperm, raise my kids.
Yuck. Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, yeah, he's a dick. Like, regardless of this or not, he's a dick. But I I can't imagine. I don't want him to be that horrible, but you're right. I can't, oddly enough, I can see it. I can see it in that way.
Yeah, I think it might be the case. So back to Rachel and Ryan. Sadly, they were not meant to be life partners. In 2007, after the couple's first public breakup, because there was more than one, Ryan described Rachel as, quote, one of the great loves of my life.
Oh my God.
And he said that in GQ. They were so young that it's actually kind of funny to use that term at that age. Like,
that's true.
Anyone under 30 should not be using the term love of my life. Like, you don't know. You don't know.
I don't know. Okay, I disagree with you on this. I think between 24 and 30, you can definitely know if you've had a love of your life. I think you could. Sarah.
I mean, fair. It's just so much is going to happen. And I think if you were reflecting today, he would say this and I would believe him. But at the time, you don't know.
But you know what's tricky? Their love was captured on camera and is one of the greatest love stories of our time. So that must make it really complicated in their heads, I bet.
Yeah. So the couple briefly reconciled in 2008, but it didn't last. When reports of their final breakup emerged, fans everywhere mourned. LaineyGossip.com even had a headline suggesting it was a, quote, suicide watch situation, which I know is not funny by today's standards. LaineyGossip.com itself would admit that times have changed. But that's how upset everyone was. That is how upset everybody was about this. It was a mental health crisis. It was like when John Mulaney left his wife for Olivia Munn.
Oh my God. I know. I was really devastated beyond. I wasn't willing to accept it. And I thought they'll be on again. It's going to happen. They'll get back together. They'll be endgame, as the kids say.
It did seem like Rachel and Ryan would just keep getting back together.
Yeah. They probably did. How would we know, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think they probably have hooked up since, right? I think
so.
He's the guy, I think, at least when he was single, where, when she broke up with someone, she probably called him up and they spent a weekend together.
Totally.
Everyone has a boyfriend from when they were younger, that in any era of your life, if you want to feel good about yourself, you call him.
Yeah. It's the Ben and Jen syndrome. You can't be in a room together and not I fuck at least, and not have that person in your head for at least 24 hours after. Some people have an impossible gravitational pull towards each other. And I think these two do. And I don't know that they can ever be in the same room together ever again and not be tempted.
No, I think it's a Charles and Camilla situation. And so I think that if they want to be faithful to their partners, they probably can't see each other. And I don't think they know that, because Rachel has said that she would love to work with him again. So I don't think they're self-aware enough to know that. We need to show them the PDA.
Dangerous. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think it does. As committed as you are to your partner and your kids, the pull of that kind of chemistry, it's hard to resist, right? And so I think that you need to be self-aware. The people who are happiest in life are the people who know that chemistry was dangerous that they had when they were younger and stay away from it. But anyway, what broke up these two sexy Canadians? Ryan Gosling later stated, quote, show business is the bad guy. He explained, when both people are in show business, it's too much show business. It takes all the light so nothing else can grow. This feels a bit disingenuous coming from Ryan, who's now married to actress Eva Mendes, so I don't believe it. For her part, the famously private Rachel doesn't really discuss her personal life in public, so we don't really know how she feels about it. But she has said, as I mentioned before, that she would love to work with Ryan again. This means, I think, the breakup wasn't toxic or super acrimonious. I think it was civilized and a loving uncoupling. So, Sadaf, what do you think actually broke up McGosling? What's your theory? Why did these two hot Canadians break up and end up starting families with Americans, of all people? Never forgive them.
God, Sarah, this is one of the things that plagues me at night all these years later. I genuinely often think of these two and dream that they will still find their way back to each other. And again, I know that they have children and they're in love with other people, and I wish those relationships well. But I actually believe Ryan, maybe because I don't know what else it could be. And again, we don't know enough about the relationship. But, we've talked about it. These two were both rising at the same time, and they had very similar profiles and careers. I can imagine that maybe a bit of competition or press attention, which they had a lot of, right? If they were walking around in Toronto they would get noticed, but not in the way that they would in LA, let's say. But in LA, they would get a lot of attention. I can't imagine that's easy. That would be really hard for me personally. And also having tabloids constantly being like, are they together? When are they going to have a baby? Are they not together? Did they break up? Blah, blah, blah. Here's what I will say. He's married to actress Eva Mendes, as you mentioned. And that does seem ironic, considering he said show business got in the way. But here's the thing. Eva completely stopped her career once she got together with Ryan. She has not acted since. And she said that that was her decision. She wanted to focus on her family and their kids. But I do find that very interesting. I'm not saying he told her to do that, but I do think, like, she's talked a lot about how she was happy for him to take center stage and let his career grow, and family was her priority. That just seems like however that decision happened, it certainly benefited him, right? And she is rarely in the spotlight anymore. She's recently popped back up because I believe she has some kind of brand she's promoting.
She has sponges. This is not a joke. Like for cleaning.
Oh,
for cleaning.
Okay, well,
it's very strange.
How momly. She's also coming off rather kooky, dare I say, whenever she has made a recent press moment, but that's despite what we're talking about. That's besides the point. But anyway, so let me just say, ultimately, I think that works out for Ryan. Does it work out for Eva? I don't know. She hasn't said anything. She seems like she's pretty happy with that dynamic. Rachel is a different story entirely because, as we've said, she's not really in the spotlight as much anymore. So maybe that would have worked out for Ryan actually in the long term.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. But it does seem like the fact that Eva as a stay-at-home mom makes it easier for him to go away and work. So there's also the practical element. And listen, men have been marrying women who would do the majority of the childcare for millennia. Even when women are the breadwinners, they still do the majority of the childcare. But when it comes to something like acting, where like literally you sometimes have to go to another location, I do understand, maybe subconsciously or not, it's very hard for, if you want to have a big career, but your wife is on location, right? That logistically, maybe that's back of his mind, what he was thinking. It made it easier for him to be center stage. But also I don't want to be mean here. Eva Mendes is a beautiful woman and she seems very nice and very charismatic. She's not talented. Okay, so when she said, I chose to stay home and sacrifice my career, you're not sacrificing your career, lady. Like, this is not, what were you doing that was so great, right? Like, and I think she even would say that because she actually, I've seen interviews with her and she is quite intelligent. She's smart about money. She's smart about life. But honestly, to me, it's always felt like she became an actor because she was a pretty person. So she took on a pretty person job. And then another pretty person job is being married to a rich and successful man. And that's her pretty person job now.
I love the idea of a pretty person job. I mean, listen, yeah, she's not a good actress. She's very bad, but she's gorgeous. And she did have a career. Did it have longevity? Probably not. And here's what's interesting to me about all of this, though, may I say, that these two met filming The Place Beyond the Pines, which is such a gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful movie.
One of Eva's better movies.
Yes. And he wanted her in that role, right? Like this is maybe a John Krasinski moment. Like maybe he could help her out with that if he wanted to and if she were interested. But she is good in it. They're good together. They play a couple. They have a baby in the movie. And so it's probably very easy to fantasize having a life with this woman off screen. Now, he has had a long-time habit of falling in love with the women he dates on screen. So he also dated Sandra Bullock prior to Rachel. They were in Murder by Numbers together. There's probably other examples that are not coming straight to mind right now. But I think there's something to be said for that, right? This man is... And as I said, if I were an actor, I would fall in love with all my love interests. And he certainly does that. And so if he and Rachel were to ever co-star in a movie again, I do think the flame would be relit. And I do love that for myself and for you. I don't love it for Eva. I don't love it for Rachel's man. But listen, give the people what they want. Okay, damn it all.
Make the sacrifice for the greater good. We need nice things. We need to be happy again. I feel that they owe this to the world. It does rankle that they ended up with Americans. I'm just going to say it.
Of course.
This is the Canada Day special. Okay. There are lots of attractive Canadians. There are lots of talented Canadians. I mean, couldn't she have found a nice Canadian screenwriter? They exist. this is just part of what really is upsetting. And it just adds salt to the wound.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I know. I wish they'd ended up with locals, but alas, maybe that's the whole point, right? Like they I think, especially in Ryan's case, like he was too big of a shooting star, went in the Hollywood direction. With Rachel, she's with someone low key, so it still kind of speaks to that energy. I don't know if she still has a place in Toronto. I think she does. But yeah, I know it's devastating. You know what I envision, and very realistically, I think decades from now, when they're both much older, I do think they'll star in something together, and maybe they will fall in love again, and maybe we won't even know that they will, and they may not still be with their current partners. But I don't know. I think when you have a love like that, it doesn't die, and I just love to see it. Please let us see it.
And I guess we are also assuming that we know that these people are monogamous, right? Like, who knows? Maybe they're ethically non-monogamous, although if I were ethically non-monogamous with either of these two people, I would have a carve out and be like, but you can't hook up with Ryan and you can't hook up with Rachel. The chemistry is too good. That is not allowed. That is not allowed.
You're too sexy together.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Not allowed. Anyone else, not them. Not them.
I know. Now, listen, if all of you are listening and some of you want that real optimism and hope, I have another example for you. So another beyond sexy couple, Javier Bardem, Penelope Cruz, probably one of the most gorgeous couples of all time. Couple. Now, when they were younger, they starred together in, I believe, a couple of movies, but one in particular, quite sexy. I can't remember the name of it now, but we'll include it in the show notes. But they were quite young. They started dating then. They had unbelievable chemistry, even at that age, which is incredible. And then they drifted apart. They dated very briefly, went off, had their own lives, had different partners, just lived a whole period. Came back together years later, again after starring in another movie together, and now they're back together, and they are so obsessed with each other in a way where I'm like, they will never split again. It just couldn't happen. He is constantly raving about her. She's constantly raving about him. Their heat is at levels I can't even fathom, Sarah. And they have gifted us with doing multiple movies together since, and I know they'll keep doing it. So I can envision Rachel and Ryan having something like that. And by the way, Penelope and Javier also hometown. They share hometowns. So listen, it's possible. It's very possible.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just want somebody who knows where the good local Chinese food is. That keeps you together, right? Like, no, seriously, ending up with someone from your hometown, I get the appeal, especially if you're often away filming. So hope, like, we haven't given up hope is what we're saying.
Exactly.
And this is no offense to their current partners, who I believe are probably great people. We still want this. We can't help what we want. The heart wants what the heart wants.
We're being honest. McGosling forever. Sorry.
McGosling forever. Okay, so this brings us to our final segment, Hindsight is 2026, where we choose the one moment we might have handled differently if we were the subject of this story. So, Sadaf, what would you have done differently if you were Rachel and or Ryan?
Oh my God, this is tricky. I mean, the obvious answer is I never would have broken up.
I know.
But, you know, it adds a little bit of heat. As a toxic person myself, I can say, you know, breaking up and being on again, off again, there's a heat to that in itself, right? I bet that even turned them on. What would I change? Gosh, well, that's tricky. I don't know. I mean, this is a hard one. I got to think on it, sir. Do you know what you would change?
I think I probably wouldn't have gotten back together the second time.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it just gave the world too much hope. I think that it meant so that every other partner they'll ever have will always wonder if they are the love of that person's life, right? Because it just, you've got the Notebook, you've got all the PDA, and the fact that it was even difficult for them to quit each other. So I think it's hard for their current relationships, right? It's just, if I were one of their partners, I'd be like, I don't believe you that you love me most of all. I just don't. I'll never believe it. I'll never believe it. There's too much photographic evidence. So I probably wouldn't have done that. I'm not a fan of getting back together with people after breaking up either. I'm not. And this doesn't mean that I've never done it. It just, I don't think it's a good idea. Just, I think if you break up with someone or they break up with you and a trigger is pulled, I think that it means that it will be pulled again at some point. Unless it's years and years later, right? So I do have exceptions for certain couples. Like I actually, in my own life, know many couples who dated when they were young, university or high school, and then got married to other people, had a family with them, and then got back together. And those are actually some of the happiest couples I know. But usually there was a reason they broke up, which was oftentimes their families didn't think it was a good match for various reasons. And then there's no issue now. You're not going to have the kids together. You've already got them, right? Like you're 50 and it's just about enjoying each other. So, I mean, I would have just said to Rachel and Ryan, listen, you guys should get back together when you're older. You're not good partners for the middle period of your lives. Like get back together in your 50s, have kids with someone else, but you don't need to get back together after this breakup. Wait.
That's a really interesting thought. I like that, especially as someone who has also spun the block quite a few times. It never gets better. It only gets worse. Okay, here's what I will say, and this is a bit of a cop-out, but they say that they allegedly had those 2 years between The Notebook and eventually getting together where they suddenly ran into each other one day. Well, I feel like those were 2 years wasted of great love and great sex, and why do that? I feel like the moment The Notebook was done filming, maybe when they hit the red carpet, I don't know. You were out of that context of shooting a movie, and I have to imagine you were both looking at each other and being like, he's kind of hot, she's kind of hot. They just didn't want to be the first one to say it and give in. And I feel like, why waste that time, guys? Oh my God, so much heat was missed.
I know, but isn't that such a 20s thing when you don't want to be vulnerable? You don't want to.
And you know what else? To touch back on what you and I both keep saying, the longer they had that time, the more the tension built and probably made it even hotter. So I will always say the longer you can build that sexual tension, the hotter it will be when you get to taste it. Oh, and God, I know it was good for these two. My God, Sarah and I are in heat. And I hope you all are too.
On the reheat, right?
On
so
the reheat.
Living up to our title.
Yeah. Oh.
All right. So this brings us to the end of the show. All right. If you liked us, you can listen to more of The Reheat for free on the Seeker app. And we hope that you did like us. We work really hard on the show. You can also find us on the Frequency Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to hear more from me, you can find me on Instagram at Sahakin Sarah. I'm also on Threads under that name. Sadaf, where can our listeners find you?
Listeners can find me on Instagram at Canada Whore. And by the way, this is a wonderful little supersized episode, which we've done a couple times now. If you guys like this, let us know, because Sarah and I can yap and yap and yap. So if you want more of this, we'll do more of this. If you want less, we'll do less. We're happy to hear whatever you feel. If you liked the podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe, because that makes it so much easier for other listeners to find us too. And if you'd like us to keep growing, you know the drill. We would love for you to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/The Reheat, where there is so much good exclusive stuff that you can get in on. Come join. It's a fun little community. Thank you for listening. McGosling forever.